My eating disorder started when I was about 10 years old. I grew up in a family. My mother was a compulsive overexerciser and anorexic, and my father was never home due to his own strive for perfection. So I grew up I was homeschooled, so along with my math and English, I learned how to be anorexic. I suffered with anorexia, compulsive overexercising, OCD tendencies, perfectionism, you name it, I probably have it. I have two younger brothers who suffered from chemical and drug and drinking dependency. And from a really early age, I just felt like I needed to be perfect for them. I needed to fix them. I needed to do whatever I could to make our family functional, even though it was very dysfunctional. By the age of 12, we had moved from my home in Wisconsin to Montana, where I began severely restricting and started to plummet into my anorexia. Did some counseling and some outpatient treatment that really did nothing because my parents were really concerned. And I would just get so frustrated because my mother would, be monitoring what I was eating and weighing me and trying to get me to get better. And here she was doing the exact same actions I was doing. That was just her normal everyday life. So I was really conflicted. Like, if she can do this, how come I can't? And then around the age of about 14, my dad went in to have open heart surgery, which was probably one of the lowest points of my adolescence and my eating disorder, just watching him and feeling so helpless that I couldn't do anything to help him. When he did great. We grew a lot through that experience with his open heart surgery. He cut back on work hours, and our relationship really began there. And then at 16, we moved my senior year of high school to Idaho, where I live now. I started public school for the first time ever as a senior, and I loved it. I just loved it academically, socially. So I did really well there, graduated at 16, went off to college in 2009 as a freshman at University of Idaho, and I was free. Like, I was free to be in my eating disorder, free to be whoever I wanted to, mess around with whoever, dabble in drinking, and I did, but my primary love and my primary addiction was my eating disorder. So it just went downhill from there, and freshman year, I got through it okay, and then I came home for the summer after freshman year, and my mom and I it was this huge conflict the whole summer, and I could tell my parents were in a really weird state in their relationship, and I felt like it was my fault because my father was really upset at how hypocritical my mother was with my eating disorder, and she had her own speck in her eye. So it was a hard summer, and I went into my sophomore year of college. I was going to be an RA. I was taking 21 credits. I was a teacher's assistant, and I was just so overwhelmed. And then about 2 weeks into school, I found out my parents were getting separated, and I was devastated, and I plummeted further into my anorexia. Came home for Christmas my sophomore year, and my dad just begged me not to go back. He said, "You're not going to make it if you do." But I said, I'm stubborn, I'm going to do it anyway. Didn't think I was that bad, denied everything, went back to school, and by February had to medically withdraw because I was so sick. So medically withdrew, and I found out that my dad had been researching treatment centers as well as funeral options, and he said, "These are your two options," and I chose to go to Rosewood. So that's where I ended up at the age of that was back in 2011, and then I went through their system once. Within 3 months had relapsed and went back again, and then the last time I went was in 2013, so I was there 3 consecutive years, and the third time was it for me. So yeah. Mostly it was just my anorexia and my struggle with just, I didn't know who I was, and I didn't like who I had morphed myself into. I was whoever anyone else wanted me to be. My favorite music was my best friend's. My favorite football team was my boyfriend at the time, and I didn't know who I was, and I lost myself completely in my eating disorder. So Rosewood gave me the opportunity to really experience for the first time who I was without the influence of my parents or my friends or who I thought I needed to be. And it was scary, but that's truly what brought me there mostly. So I honestly wish I could say that there's certain moments that it's like, oh yeah, that, but for me, the treatment experience, you could have the most mundane task as whatever you have to do in a different group, or say you've gone to body image a million times, all of it for me, I sucked everything in because every single piece was so important for me. I think the things that I got out the most of it was my primary groups and just my experience with my therapist in our group therapy. It was very powerful for me to hear that I was not alone and to hear that I was not judged for the things I had done. Sharing our life stories together, it was an incredible way to heal and to know that I wasn't alone, and that other people were going through similar situations. Psychodrama with Hunter was amazing. It was probably one of my favorite things. There was a lot of tears shed, not only when I would see other people do theirs, but when I would experience my own. And body image group with Cheryl was definitely one of the highlights of my stay there. So today I've been in recovery since July of 2013. And this is my first reunion back here in Arizona. I am currently studying psychology at the University of Idaho, finishing my degree there. I'm a senior now, so I'll be graduated in May. I'm hoping to go on to work in counseling field, hopefully with marriage and family, to help people. Obviously, eating disorders will be involved in that, as well as chemical addictions and just mental health counseling in general. I feel like my experience with my own family and my own personal issues, God's just really placed in my heart that that's the field that He wants me to go into, because He saved my life for a reason, and I feel like the only thing I can do now is to give back and help other people with that. So, be gentle with yourself. I think for me, I'm my hardest critic. When I had to come back multiple times to Rosewood, I felt so defeated and so angry at myself. I felt like I had to come back multiple times and I couldn't get it. I just couldn't get it. I had to be able to do it. But you have to be gentle with yourself and know that this is not something that is cured overnight. This is something that takes a lot of work, and it's a daily surrender. And so for me, I would just say, trust the process, be gentle with yourself, and know that you're worth it, and to keep fighting.